The crash had torn through the canopy like a meteor, leaving a scar of twisted metal and burning vegetation across the forest floor. Sarah pulled herself from the wreckage, her survival suit torn but functional. Emergency beacon blinking uselessly on her wrist. The signal wouldn't reach anyone for weeks, maybe months. She was alone on Kepler-4 to be. A world where everything that moved was designed to kill. Leo found her 3 days later. She had managed to set up a basic perimeter using debris from the ship-sharp metal stakes, driven into the soil. A makeshift shelter fashioned from hull plating. But the creatures here were relentless. She'd counted 17 different species in 72 hours, each more horrifying than the last. 6-legged predators with crystalline teeth, serpentine things that hunted by electromagnetic pulses, swarms of insectoid horrors that dissolved organic matter on contact. "You're still alive," Leo said, emerging from the purple undergrowth with a pack on his back and a plasma cutter in his hand. His own crash site had been 15 kilometers north, his beacon just as useless as hers. "Barely," Sarah replied, not lowering the makeshift spear she'd fashioned from a support beam. "You armed?" "Enough," he gestured at her perimeter. "That won't hold them off much longer. Those stakes, the raptor claws will jump right over them by nightfall. They're learning your patterns." Sarah's jaw tightened. She'd noticed that too. The creatures here weren't just predators, they were intelligent hunters, adapting to her defenses with unsettling speed. "So what do you suggest?" "We can't run. The forest extends for thousands of kilometers in every direction." Leo smiled, and there was something fierce in it, something that spoke of humanity's ancient stubbornness. "We don't run. We build something they'll remember." Over the next week, they transformed the crash site into something the alien world had never seen. Leo had training in xenobiology and military engineering. Sarah was a terraform specialist with a gift for understanding ecosystems. Together, they became something greater than the sum of their parts. First came the fire motes. Not ordinary fire. Leo had jury-rigged the ship's fuel cells to burn at temperatures that created a heat shimmer visible from kilometers away. The creatures here had never encountered controlled combustion on this scale. They circled the perimeter, keeping their distance, instinct screaming warnings their limited experience couldn't explain. But fire alone wouldn't be enough. Sarah studied the predators, cataloging their behaviors, their blind spots, their fears. She noticed that the electromagnetic serpents avoided certain mineral deposits. The insect swarms dispersed when exposed to specific light frequencies. The raptor claws, for all their intelligence, had extremely sensitive hearing. They've never dealt with persistence predators, she explained to Leo as they worked through the night. On Earth, humans weren't the fastest or strongest. We won because we never stopped coming. We tracked prey for days. We adapted. We learned. And they're going to learn what that means, Leo finished, connecting a series of sonic emitters to a motion tracking system he'd salvaged from the navigation array. The camp expanded. Motion sensors triggered blinding strobe lights that disoriented the swarms. Electromagnetic dampeners created dead zones that the serpents couldn't navigate. The sonic emitters produced frequencies that sent the raptor claws fleeing in pain and confusion. And everywhere, the fires burned, a symbol of human dominance that painted the night in defiant orange. But the true genius was in the layered defense. Each system backed up another, each weakness covered. Sarah designed the camp like an ecosystem, where every element served multiple purposes. The heat from the fires powered their equipment. The light attracted certain prey species that drew predators away from the perimeter. The electromagnetic dampeners didn't just repel serpents. They masked the camp's technological signature from the swarm queens. 3 weeks after Leo's arrival, something remarkable happened. A pack of raptor claws approached the perimeter at dusk, their usual hunting time. But instead of attacking, they stopped at the edge of the fire motes. The alpha studied the camp with eyes that gleamed with something like recognition. It let out a series of clicks, a warning to the pack, and they retreated into the forest. "They're learning to avoid us," Leo observed, a note of satisfaction in his voice. "Better than that," Sarah replied, pointing to the eastern approach where a group of herbivores had begun grazing. "They're telling others. Look, prey species are using our perimeter as a safe zone. The predators won't cross the boundary anymore." It was unprecedented. In less than a month, Two humans had created a territory that the planet's apex predators recognized and respected. The camp had become a sanctuary, an island of human ingenuity in an ocean of alien hostility. The rescue ship arrived 43 days after the crash. Captain Morrison stared at the settlement in disbelief, her shuttle's sensors painting a picture that seemed impossible. The crash site had become a fortress, complete with cultivated gardens using native plants, a water purification system, and a defensive perimeter that registered as a no-go zone for every predator species. Within 50 kilometers. How? She asked when Sarah and Leo boarded. This planet has a 97% fatality rate for stranded personnel. The longest anyone's survived alone was 9 days. Sarah and Leo exchanged a look, and in it was the answer to a question humanity had been answering since they first stood upright. On the African savannah, we weren't alone, Leo said simply. We had each other, and they, Sarah added, gesturing to the planet below where their camp still burned like a beacon, had never met humans before. They learned to hunt in packs. We learned to turn entire worlds into our territory. As the shuttle climbed toward orbit, the fires of the camp continued to burn, a monument to human persistence. The creatures of Kepler-440b would remember this place, would pass down through generations the knowledge of the spot where prey became predator, where the hunted became the hunters. Where to humans, left alone where creatures hunt, had built a camp no beast would touch. The rescue was just the beginning. Within a year, Sarah and Leo would return with a full colonial team, using their research to establish the first permanent human settlement on Kepler-440b. The camp that started as a desperate survival measure would become the foundation of New Horizons City, humanity's latest triumph in an uncaring universe, because that's what humans did. They didn't just survive, they conquered.